Welcome back to Talking Transfers, everyone. Arsenal are still in the market, looking to do a little bit of business. We thought maybe things would be wrapping up, but of course David Raya has been confirmed, and there is some injury news that might be forcing Arsenal back in. We're going to discuss all that and more, as there is apparently still a chase for forward and some more players. I've even heard a link to a number 6. I'm not sure about that. Let's discuss it all with this amazing panel. Cecil to my right. Welcome, Cecil. Round of applause for Cecil.
Right.
Curtis to my left. And Stricto as well. Welcome.
What a panel, by the way. Sorry,
It's a great panel.
What a panel.
And what a welcome video. It didn't ruin your life.
It didn't ruin my mental health, my life, Had a bit of fun. I mean, I clearly can't rap. Chip, I thought would be able to help me, but he just said get out.
I can't wait for that release of
the actual track. Yeah, it's going to be good. The Gunners rhythm is coming to you guys.
Is that the name of the song?
I believe it is, yeah, Gunners rhythm. Yeah,
it's going to be okay. Looking forward to it. Right, let's talk about some of the news that is happening in the world of transfers for Arsenal. We know about this guy, Carl Walker-Peters. That's the next bit of news. Jurrien Timber, at the time of recording, and of course this might come out a little bit later, we don't know exactly how long it's going to be. There are lots of rumours about most of the season potentially out, months, full season. Some are saying, listen, you know what, I don't want to fuel more than I should. Let's just wait for full confirmation from the club. We did put out a statement saying that they are waiting for more kind of consultation results to find out the true extent of the injury. We don't know if it's ACL, MCL, meniscus, all these things. It's in the injury and we wish him all the best. But will it force Arsenal into the transfer window? Some of the potential replacements are being discussed. Carl Walker-Peters is one of them. Now we know that Carl Walker-Peters has been linked with the move to Arsenal before. He's been relegated with Southampton. Former Tottenham player as well, actually, is worth remembering. He's played right back and left back. Could he be an option? We'll discuss that in a bit more detail later. Arsenal have confirmed another signing, as you saw with Cecil's welcome video. David Raya, there he is, they're doing Arteta. And he met Win as well, the dog that everyone is loving. Did you see the photos of Win when they did the media day?
Yeah, I saw that
on the chair.
But what I do want to actually highlight even more is his grandfather. What I love him.
Class. Good from Arsenal.
I like that. That was very classy.
Yeah, that was good.
By the way, he don't look 91, by the way. He looks a lot younger than 91.
Yeah, I haven't seen the full footage, but he had a lot of family there, I believe. That's something they do well. Like they do, like when Timber flew in, 40-minute flight. We all know how long that flight was. And he had shirts for them all with Timber's name and number. They do that well.
Personal touch. Personal touch.
Good. It's about the 40-minute flight to Amsterdam. What, you been going to Amsterdam a lot, or you just sort of?
No, Timber just mentioned it.
I'm just checking if you've been
behind the scenes videos. But I've actually never been to Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. Although I did really want to. Let's talk about Nuno Tavares, who's been linked with a move as well to Nottingham Forest. I kind of forget we still have him. We're short of a left back, we might need to keep him.
They must have been impressed with that 30 minutes when they dragged him off at the City ground, because you would have thought they'd stay away from him after that game. But
actually, that's a good point. I forget he was.
Dragged him.
Yeah, they saw a player there.
They said, what a 30 minutes we did lose that game, so
maybe it's a Liverpool highlight as well. It might be that one they might have thought, what a quality player we're getting here.
Well, Forest are doing us a few favours, because they did pick up Matt Turner, who had a debut against us, but Tavares is the latest link to the move, and Gabriel Magalhaes has been linked with a move to Saudi Arabia, as many clubs have been moving as well. We know Al Hilal just signed Neymar, but I don't see this one happening. No. But it's worth mentioning that there has been a link there with John Cross as well. Okay, let's talk about it. Jurrien Timber and this injury. The first thing I want to ask everyone, I'm not going to ask a stupid question, how disappointed are we? Look, we know everyone here is really gutted because they made a really great start in pre-season. But what I want to ask is, are we not quite stacked in defence? Maybe not with players of his calibre. What he allowed us to do was ensure that if a player was injured, like Zinchenko has been, the level doesn't drop. Zinchenko's now back fit. Are we not quite well stacked in that area, Curtis?
Yeah, we are. Do you know what it is? I think the impact that he's had in pre-season and the way he plays, he's kind of different to anyone else in our back four. Like, he's quick, he's aggressive, he can carry the ball forward as well. It feels damning, this injury. I've got to be honest, it's really set me back as a fan. I looked at him like he can transform us, because he can play anywhere across that back four. He carries the ball out well. He surprised people, I think, with how good he is, and you know, it's like you're not an Arsenal player until you get injured, or you play every game for your other club. You play half a game at Arsenal and you get that injury.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying, because you look at left back, Zinchenko, Tierney, who's still there. Right back, you've got White and Tomiyasu. Centre back, you've got Kivior and Gabriel Saliba. White can play there. But I just think, because you look at it now and you say, we need a depth in defence. We've lost the depth potentially for the whole season. In midfield, you've brought Rice in for Xhaka, which I believe is an upgrade. But in terms of numbers, we haven't strengthened. And then you look at the forward line. Okay, we signed Havertz. We don't know where he's going to play. But it feels like we've spent 200 million and we haven't significantly improved the squad.
I do hear that. Let me read you that list of names that Kirst was touching on. Tomiyasu, White, Holding, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior, Tierney, Zinchenko, with 4 of those players able to play left back. Now, there are reports that if Tierney were to go, then they are looking at someone else, and I think with Tierney leaving, Timber getting injured, I do think there's that feeling that actually, okay, we need to probably add a little bit there. But you've got Partey can play at right back, and we've seen him do that the last 2 games.
I thought amen. I hate seeing it.
I thought he played well.
No, I hate it.
Then he also had that Rice can play centre back. Like,
we don't want to start doing
but I'm saying, like, there's options.
Now, James, there is options, but essentially we're back where we started from last season. It's still, you know, like Curtis was saying, like, this guy is he's quality. Like, from what we've seen in a short time, he seems very very effective. Do you know what I'm saying? And now we don't know how long we've lost him for. Yes, there is a big drop now from what we had in that pre-season to what we're left with. So I personally think it's a big miss. Big miss. And most importantly is, like I said to you, Cecil, in the fan cam, he's a conundrum for Arteta. So he's going to keep other players on their toes, because it seems like Arteta ain't gonna drop him. He will make adjustments around him. So losing that now, then there's that edge that, okay, he's out the teams. What are the other players thinking? Like, oh, I might not need to train harder. I might not need to be at the level I need to be to challenge him, because he's not there anymore. So I think that's what we're missing now, is that challenge to the other players.
So also the other thing, is you talk about numbers there, but Holding, I think a lot of us would agree, could potentially go. Tierney could go. Zinchenko's been injury prone. Tomiyasu's been injury prone. So there's numbers there, but are they reliable?
Yeah, there's
full
options.
season?
It doesn't mean they're good options. Cedric's an option.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Have some respect.
Sorry, James. Yeah, so like, there's options, but it doesn't mean they're good ones, like I said. And I think me and Curtis talking off camera that this one is a damning injury. This one, it shook me. Listen, Havertz, I'm still not sold. Declan Rice, I still think it's going to take a bit of time to bed into this Arsenal side and really hit the heights that a lot of us fans want to see. I think when I saw Timber step into this Arsenal side, again, a transformative signing. He slotted straight in, playing out from the back, comfortable. You didn't know how to pick him up. And I think for Arsenal and Arteta, it gave him an option down that side that we don't really have. Obviously, we have Zinchenko once he's back in there, but it allowed us to go either side and be very offensive from both sides, and that's difficult for teams to defend against. Now, I don't see someone that's as close to what Timber brings in our options that we have, and that's my fear. I actually am very much worried about this.
Did Zinchenko have a pre-season?
No.
So that's another thing.
But I think he starts against Palace.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah. I think he will.
That's interesting.
He's been back in training for over a week.
He has been with the players,
all the way through to next Monday. So I just think Arteta's going to want to go with familiarity there.
Do you think he'll go for him or Tomiyasu at left back? Just because he's match fit?
Yeah.
They haven't really got difficult. I mean, Zaha's obviously gone as well. I'm not that side, but I suppose they haven't got the players that you really have to hyper focus against when it comes to defending. So maybe Zinchenko, that's a good shout.
I think we'll give Zinchenko 60 minutes and then Tomiyasu. But sorry, back to you, Stricter there. I just want to ask if then, you know, I think we all agree Arsenal could in an ideal world still do more business even though they've spent a lot of money. So does this become a priority now, getting another defender in?
Yeah, I think, like Curtis said, the reliability of the ones we do have isn't that. You can't go a whole season. It's proven. We can't go a whole season with the guys that we have. Like, there's going to be an injury at some point. And what seems to happen is they're never usually like short-term injuries. They're like mid to long-term injuries. So I think we do kind of have to prioritize that areas. Yeah, we have the numbers, but they're not reliable.
Yeah. Well, we wish them all the best. We are going to do a little bit more discussing in terms of actual alternatives, but we're going to save that for the next round, the buzzer round, so let's get into it now. All right, let's do it. We've got the buzzers out, and Stricto's just asked if we're actually competing, which shows he's never watched this show. So thanks for joining us. But also, I can't possibly imagine what you'd be competing over.
Bro, I see this stuff on game shows, innit? So, I don't know, maybe you lot got, I don't know, a grant to me somewhere. I
We'll
don't
do some forfeits then as well. Then don't just get prizes.
Rob is giving money away now. Yeah, press the buzzer.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, think of it as Britain's Got Talent. I'm going to give you 5 names of alternatives for Uri and Timber. Hit the buzzer if you don't want them.
Okay. If I don't want them, hit the buzzer.
Yeah, if you don't want them.
All right,
they've
cool.
come up, they've auditioned on stage, and you've gone, it's not for
All right,
me.
cool. All right, cool.
Sorry, come back next year. Have you got a second song? That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
are we
cool.
ready? All right, 5 alternatives for Uri and Timber. They're going to hit the red button if they don't want them. And João Cancelo's the first. You're taking him. Okay.
All day long.
It's a big boy player, man.
All day long.
The thing is, I mean, been reading a bit about it. It looks like Barca are all over him, and I don't think Pep's going to want to give us more players after last year.
Yeah.
So he'd be ideal left. I think he's unbelievable on the ball.
Knows Arteta as well.
Loves Arteta.
Yeah. So
right
it's-
back, left back. He'd be perfect, but I just don't think Pep will let it happen.
Yeah.
I put my cross up. He's the closest to, I believe, what Jurgen Timber was bringing to this Arsenal side. He's
On
the
the
closest.
ball.
Just and how he can just he can invert and whatnot. I think he's the one that would be quite seamless into this Arsenal side. But I am going to put an X up because we're going to get through the rest of the names. We're going to see my response to a lot of them. But it's a no for me.
It's a no for you, yeah?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Wow, I'm surprised.
Stricter?
Yeah, bro. Bring him, bro. Like I said, like him and Arteta, the familiarity already. Like you know, they won't really be. Do you know? First of all, most important thing, winner. We need as many winners as we can. Like you were saying off camera. I can't remember who you said was saying that. Oh, he looked in the players' eyes, and
Yeah,
a lot of
Zinchenko
Zinchenko,
didn't
right?
have the belief.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't have it in their eyes. This is a winner, bro. The more them you have in there, the more likely you are to win something.
Yeah.
Yep, fair point. All right, the second player, we've touched on him earlier because our reports, Carl Walker-Peters. Wow, he hitting it, Stricto?
Oh, right, hesitation.
I like him.
He's got one name too many for me. There's Kyle Walker, I'll probably take him, but the Peters, not for me.
On a loan, imagine Carl Walker alone for a season.
I mean, ex-Tottenham, but listen, if he's good enough, we probably
let him
ignore
slide,
that,
yeah.
you know what I mean? But
you take Kane though. He's an ex-Tottenham.
yeah, I'd have took Kane, yeah.
And
And
you
he's
take
a
Kyle Walker.
he's a gooner, eh? Yeah, and I said one name
Carl,
too
yeah,
many, innit?
yeah.
Kyle Walker, I'd have took.
Yeah, the Peters
For
though.
me, like, don't get me wrong, he's a solid Premier League right back. Like, he's not bad, but like, I'm trying to catch Man City here.
Word.
Like, come on.
But we've tried the catching Man City by signing Timber. He's got injured.
Yeah.
I don't think the sad reality is I don't think there's a Timber quality player
a good
out
point.
there that we can get.
This is
we've
why.
shown Cancelo, but
But this is
he's we're never going to get him.
We're also not breaking the bank
Yeah,
to
yeah.
replace Timber, first and foremost.
Yeah, because he's back in 8 months or
Yeah,
whatever. I don't know if it's that long.
But how
So-
much do we think he's going to cost?
What means Southampton being relegated? Or dash give, but you see, even with him, you could dash someone in going that way and a bit of change
Loan
on
with
it.
an option.
Or loan or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not going to break the bank. So realistically, you have to look at the options available.
Exactly. This is why James makes James makes a good point, and you're going to see from my reaction it's going to be an X as well, because you can bring these in as a stopgap, but we have to get rid of them eventually as well. Because
Exactly.
it's not going to be the level that
Exactly.
Jurgen Timber brings. This is why there's players I want in this list, but there's what I actually think is going to happen.
The best way to put it, yeah, if your tire, if your tire has got a nail in it, you can do one or two things. You can either replace the whole tire or you can patch it. He's a patching.
But I think Arsenal's solution will be a patch. I don't think
Yeah, I
they'll
hear
go.
you.
It's got to be a patch.
And I actually wouldn't even blame them for that. I don't think he'll lack ambition to not go inside, because at some point then you've got to look at all these defenders under the age of 25 and go, where do they actually have a place in the team? And you're not finding a second Timber for less than 50 million, especially when the market now knows that Arsenal are desperate. Well, not desperate, but are looking.
We did it with
can I
Jorginho,
say-
right? It was a Jorginho situation, really. We were waiting for. Was it
Yeah.
kind of similar, waiting for Declan Rice? We got Jorginho as a kind of a stopgap.
Where's Aspilicueta?
He just signed, actually, bro.
Do you know who would have been
probably would've done
an alright option? Maitland-Niles.
He just signed for Lyon. Is it Lyon or Marseille?
One of the French teams.
Yeah, Lyon.
Yeah.
He's with Lacazette.
Or Marseille.
He's with Lacazette. Yeah, he would have been. I thought, if obviously didn't know Duran was going to get injured, but
Do you know a wild one that was suggested? I don't think it would happen, but Sergio Ramos.
what?
Out of contract.
He's available, but bloody hell.
Sergio Ramos.
I don't know what level he's at now, but could he be like our Thiago Silva for a year? Maybe he's past it.
Hothead, man.
He is a bit of a hot.
Very hot.
Thiago's
I also just can't stand the bloke, but he's obviously
Don't you like Ramos?
unbelievable
I can't stand him.
player.
I'll be honest.
Does he still
Okay.
have the legs?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's
he
the
does.
question.
Yeah.
And also that's interesting because that's a centre back, but that's
yeah.
for part 3. We're going to explore that as well. Okay, the third player, Timothy Castagna.
Let me even slam on that. No.
Hey, go easy on that, yeah. I've already made my peace on this guy a few weeks ago. I called him Timothy Lasagna. So I think,
Slam dunk on that.
you can add to it.
We got rice.
Rice, we're cooking up a nice meal here, rice, lasagna.
Nah, hell no. Hell no. I don't rate him.
I think he's similar to like Walker Peters for me, like same sort of level.
Yeah.
So
mid-table
Arsenal, if Arsenal
done it.
sign him on loan and no one else, what are you not saying? Fair play, you got a body
Loan's
in?
not terrible, but
I'm not having. I'm just not.
I'm having any.
It's
I'm
not-
having him.
Bro, Kyle Walker Peters, yeah, like he's got some qualities that can be improved on in a short time. I'm not just this guy. I just don't see it. He's no speed, no. To me, like in that role, you got to have a you ain't
Everything
got
spatial awareness,
you-
you have to have
spatial-
ball
you-
intelligence, you have to have everything. You have to know how to.
Where we're
understand
trying to
the
get
game
to is not it.
And that's how I feel about.
It's not it. And if I go back to my analogy about the tire, this is like replacing a tire with a plate, a dish. Do you understand?
lasagna on a dish.
So
man,
yeah,
I'm telling you.
no. Hell to the no,
Do
fam.
you know what my thing is, right? You said there we're going to go for somebody, not a top. But my thing is, and I know I keep harping on about Man City, but that's where we're trying to get to. If Kyle Walker got injured now for 7-8 months, like potentially Timber could be, would they be going for players like that?
No way.
I know, okay, you could say they've got more money,
Sergio
but, they would-
Gomez last summer.
but he hasn't really kicked a ball for them, has he, in the Premier League? Do you know what I mean?
That's the option, Sergio Gomez.
We might need this guy, whoever we bring in, to potentially play quite a lot of games.
100%.
I don't think he's a terrible player at all. I think he's fine. I think he's done quite well for Leicester. He stands at 6-1, and we know that he likes presence in his team. Do I think he's the solution? No. But I don't hate.
I'm waiting for your 5 reasons video on Timothy Castagna.
Well, I've done one on Mbappe, so it's only right. Castagna's the next.
You know what? If
5 reasons why Castagna should choose Arsenal.
we bring Castagna, James, yeah, you're doing a welcome video.
Yeah, I think you should rap.
Yeah.
Big Migos fan, you know what I mean?
Lasagna. We put
Just do the ad libs. Let him rap and you just go in the background.
Nah, that's not fair on Travis Scott. He only just released Utopia. Mate. Give him some time. All right.
Yeah, that's a no, bro. That's a no. That's a hell no.
Fine. Number 4, Ivan Fresneda or Ivan Fresneda.
Even AFTV.
Another 6-foot defender.
I got to be honest, right? I'm pressing. Do you know why? Just because, I just haven't seen enough of him, to be honest. I've seen a bit of him.
He's very young.
He looks all right, but he's a baby, man. I always say, for me, I think right back's one of the hardest positions in the Premier League because I think the left wing level in the Premier League is better than any other league in the world.
You think?
Yeah, if you look at United, you're going to have Rashford, Tottenham, Son. Chelsea could be Sterling,
Salah.
Martinelli, Diaz,
even lower down in the league,
They've got
there's
some
sharp people there. I just think to put an 18-year-old from a mid-table team in La Liga, listen, I could be totally wrong. He could be a future superstar, but I just think right now you need someone who's just ready.
Apparently
for
very good on the ball though.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him. I'll be honest.
No, I'm not. I don't know. Huge deal. Like profile-wise, 6 foot.
We tried
very
to
good on the ball.
Yeah, you got him earlier.
tried to get him, didn't we?
When we
Yeah.
tried to get him before, I did do a lot of research on him. He's a good player. He's a good player. He's very young, like you mentioned. He's a baby still, and it's a lot to ask to come in and kind of just he's going to play a lot of games. We've got to remember that this isn't like Timber's come in and he's been in pre-season every game. He was there, so it's like let's not forget that they're going to be used. And for me, X for me as well.
Final option, Sacha Boey of Galatasaray.
Again.
I mean, it's just like.
Picture of him.
Yeah, I know. Do you want to zoom in a bit more on it? like again, for me, it's just because I mean, we might have to take a gamble on someone, and it's like you don't know much about them. They come in and they hit the ground running, but like you just don't know, do you? Like
he's strong. He's athletic. He's 22, I think. He's 22 years old. Again, when we had the links to him, had a little look, but I don't know loads about him. I'll be completely honest.
No, neither do I. These are 5 linked players. These are 5 players we've actually legitimately been linked with over the last. Not just the odd right back's been chucked in. Like I could have chucked in Laporte, but Laporte was just like a throwaway. Arsenal appreciate Laporte. I appreciate Laporte, but I don't think he wants to hang out with me. Like, you know, I think the point is, these 5 players have legitimately been linked, and I think Arsenal might have to go back to the drawing board with some of these. The likes of Fresned, who never got quite that move to Dortmund that was being linked, or some others. I think Barcelona were linked. Castagna, who we linked with, they've been relegated. Like, he'd jump at this chance. You know, the kind of deal we did for David Raya, where we got a loan first with an option. I can see a Kyle Walker-Peters, a Castagna maybe being that kind of thing that Arsenal go, you know what, it's going to do it's not going to have any damage having them. But if we don't, it legitimately could, and I think it's maybe just worth a gamble. I don't know what you think.
I mean, we definitely got some players that need to come out. So we also got to remember that. So someone coming in doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have an overload, because we should have at least four, 5 coming out at some point. We do have to take a gamble. Out of the ones you put there, I legitimately only know 2 out there, which is Castagna and Kyle Walker-Peters. But
what about? Sorry to cut you, Seth. What about? I'm having a look at like Brooke Norton-Cuffy, for example.
Quality.
Raul Walters. Like, you know, at some point. And I'm not saying that Arteta hasn't worked well with youngsters. He's developed Smith Rowe and kind of basically brought him into the team as a regular. Saka as well. I think the work with Martin has been brilliant. But actually, he's been a little tentative on. He's signed younger players between 21 to 24. That's been a good profile he's targeted. But in terms of giving that 18, 19-year-old a chance, we haven't seen it as much recently. We haven't seen a real breakthrough star. Could that be a Raul Walters?
It's a lovely thought track, and it's
Rico Lewis was for City.
Agreed. I'm not saying that it couldn't work. It's the idealization of it, which sounds beautiful. And do you know what it is? Don't envy the Arsenal board and Arteta right now, because like you said, it's a conundrum. I'll give an X to every name we've said. I'm even now shooting down the youngsters, Brooke Norton-Cuffy, and I love Brooke Norton-Cuffy, but I've watched him in the Euros for England. I've watched him when he's done his loan spells. I kind of followed him, and he's a quality player, and I think he would have a future at Arsenal. But I'm just so caught up on how Timber impacted Arsenal. Brooke Norton-Cuffy's athletic, strong, powerful, gets up and down the wing, but he's not a inverted fullback where he's going to build up play and whatnot. He can defend very well, very solid in defence as well, tall, aerially, everything. But he's not what Timber brings to Arsenal. Maybe I'm getting way too caught up on that, because we're not going to find a replacement to that level. But that's what I'm just like.
But that's usually how these players are born. If you come out of Arsenal for a second, if you think about how Rashford was born,
I knew he was going to say,
like some players are just born just because of something like that, and then boom, you know, they become a mainstay. So it could be a chance to maybe even.
Yeah, it could be. All right, let's talk about all this and more in the second part of the show, where we want to talk about our transfer priorities and what the rest of the window could look like. Big thanks to the buzzers who have just survived strict
slam dunking.
Alright, catch you in a sec. Okay, so with the injury news of Jurrien Timber, we know Arsenal have been maybe looking at some other positions as well, links to number 6 as we've heard as well. There's a lot to ponder for this man Edu, who I actually think's had a really good summer in terms of bringing in
bet you do, after what he said to you in LA.
What did he say to Manelli?
Well, he said he likes his show.
What's Edu's face? Big him up.
I'm a professional.
So he's probably watching now, James.
It's a big. Guys, I'm trying to run a show. So back to it. So this man here is a massive fan of Tactical Insight. He's had a big summer. Really nice guy as well. And I think he's had a good summer with.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Cool. Arteta wanted Havertz, got that done. Rice, he got that over the line, beat City. Raya, we're really happy with that deal. Jurrien Timber, shame about the injury, but we love him. But there's now almost a little bit more work to do. The Kudus thing hasn't happened with Brighton. West Ham have now been linked. You just wonder why that slowed down so much. Chelsea are going for Elise. They're another club who are looking at Kudus. Could that open the door for Arsenal late in the window? What I want to ask is, well, I've got first question. How long does Jurgen Timber have to be out for? I want a number in months here, to force Arsenal's hand into the window. Strict, I'm going to start with you. How many months?
Half the season.
So 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months out, and that will force Arsenal.
That's a long time in the season. That's literally half the season, right? So you've got to do something. You've got to do something major. You know, because like I said, again, back to that patchwork analogy. It's only so long you can use the patch before you got to replace the tire. So
Yeah, go on, Craig.
I agree with that time, because you've also got to look at it, 6 months out, then you've got to get match fit as well. Could be 7 months, Champions League knockout stage would have started by then. So 6 months you've got to bring someone else.
This is tough because, like you said, you've got to come back, and for a defender, come back with a knee injury when you have to be physical, it takes longer than a striker coming back after a knee injury. So I want to say, I think they said 6 months, and I feel like my actual opinion is this Premier League going for that title is so tight. It couldn't really be 1 month. It could be literally it's such a tight, small margin, to get it over the line, especially when you've got City and whatnot. So it should be straight away. I just don't think, I keep going back to this, I don't think Arsenal are going to look to replace him. I generally believe they're just going to find a alternative in the defensive players that we have.
A loan, a little something you can do for a year.
Right, so I don't think they're going to go all big and doing it. But I think the injury is quite serious. I don't know specifically, so please don't take my word. But I think it'll be 6 to 8 months he's going to be out anyway.
So I think if it's 6, and I want to stress this, like, my question is force. Like, Arsenal are like, we have to, not, oh, we'd like to, yeah, we probably should.
Okay.
I'm talking forcing Arsenal in, and my thing is more that 7, 8 months. And the reason I say that is because, and obviously you're right with injury, 6 months, but match fitness. I'm talking, if he's back on a football pitch in 6 months, which is February, or end of Feb, whatever, I actually don't think Arsenal will do business, because I think they'll think they can get through this first bit with the Champions League groups. They can maybe reassess it in January. If his progress is looking like actually it's going to be a little bit later, reintegration, they might address it there. I think if they're told ACL snapped, you're looking at 9 months to a year. Like he's not back till pre-season maybe. Then I think that forces Arsenal's hands, because I think at that point Arsenal start to think, what do we even? And it sounds really, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom, but who are we even getting back as a player in terms of
100%.
Like for the start of next season, how long till he's up and running? Knee injuries can take a real while to get that kind of, and he's a confident guy, but it can take a while to get that back. Look, Van Dijk had an ACL, missed the whole season, came back, and then Liverpool competed for the quadruple, and he was a mainstay in that team. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but I just think it'd leave too many questions that Arsenal wouldn't want to take a chance on. So
results matter as well. Let's be real. Like, we're going through the season, if Arsenal are still firing and how they started last season.
To the window.
I know, but say if 2 weeks to the window closes, but they're still winning games, they found a solution in rejigging the defence, and they found a formula, they might be like, okay, we can just wait. But then that drops off towards the January window maybe, and they might be like, okay, no, we do definitely need to bring someone in now to keep that momentum going for the second half of the season. I think that might have some, it might depend on that as well. I know you're saying if he finds out that it's an ACL it's done for, he's not going to be back for another 8 months before the window closes. But I'm saying I don't think they're going to go in the window. I think they're going to assess how the games go and maybe look at January if it's needed to then find a stopgap.
Okay, well then my next question, I'll throw it over to you, Stricto, is what's then our priority? And I touched on this earlier, and I asked you whether defence now became our priority, but there is talk of us still wanting an 8 of some kind or some kind of midfielder. I think Miguel Delaney said that Arsenal's still looking at a 6, which really surprised me, because I think you'll struggle to find anywhere in Europe like more depth at the number 6 role than Arsenal have. But then the Kudus thing, like I mentioned, we still are potentially looking at that forward. So if you're making, you can have as many targets as you want, but if you're prioritising them, what's your list looking like?
What you mean in positions?
Yeah. And also, but if I can actually just, to add to the question, when we say, is it a right back, centre back, or left back? We lost Timber, but what have we lost? Have we lost a right back, a centre back, or left back? I know you can do all of it, but I don't think centre back is so much of a problem, because White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior is still kind of 4 centre-backs there. So really you're moving White. So is it a case of you need maybe a right-footed full-back who can cover at both? These are the kind of questions. If Tierney leaves, do you need a more out-and-out left-back? But that's where Timber's been playing. So it's a difficult one when it's quite a wide pool of attributes you're looking for.
Yeah, for me, so in terms of position, obviously we've lost Jesus, and obviously kind of we're back to that situation we had before. Is it during the World Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, just after the World Cup.
Yeah.
So we're back to that position where we've got Eddie, and I don't know what's happening with Balogun. So if anything does happen to Eddie, I know people are saying Kai Havertz, but I haven't really seen enough from Kai Havertz, even from his Chelsea days, to say, yeah, we've got Kai Havertz, to be confident enough to say, yeah, we should be all right. So yeah, maybe I would prioritize that forward line more, because other than that and the midfield, because as much as we do have, we brought in Rice, take away Rice, we don't have anything else because Xhaka's gone. So those two positions, I think, are, I don't know which I'll prioritize. What would you say? I don't know which I'll prioritize more in that.
You're not going to prioritize the goalkeeping position, because that's what Arsenal just seem to be doing every now and then. Whatever we say ain't going to matter. Completely.
Yeah, I agree. Striker, man.
So striker remains priority.
Probably not a goal, just a goal scorer. Like
It's hard. There aren't many, are there, on the market? First of all, for me, Kieran Tierney wouldn't be leaving.
Yeah.
I'd be saying you got to stay, man, because Zinchenko and him compete at left back. When you look at it, really, we still got Zinchenko, White, Saliba, Gabriel, which was the back four that nearly won us the title. It was Saliba's injury and not having the cover that kind of cost us. But
and Tommy being injured was part of it.
Yeah, and he was injured. Now he's fit. So I actually don't think we're desperate for a defender. If his injury's not as long, or maybe you can get to January and then maybe assess it. I just still think that forward line.
No right winger cover for Saka?
No, that's what I'm saying. Right wing and striker and centre mid, I think. Because for me, like I always say, I think Trossard kicked Martinelli into gear last season. I think he had a little down spell and Trossard came in then. Well, I don't think Saka's got that on the other side. Saka knows he can have a bad game. He's not being brought off because who's coming on for him. So.
At the risk of, sorry to cut you, the risk of sounding greedy, because obviously we've signed a lot of players already. Raya, I didn't expect. If I were to have like my perfect end to the window, it would be, and I'm keeping it semi-realistic, it's bringing in a right back in the mould of a Cancelo. It won't be Cancelo, but a ball-playing right back who can invert, who can basically be what Zinchenko is, but from right back, not asking Partey to do that role. So then you've actually got 4 centre-backs you can rely on there. You can always, and like I said, people don't like it, you can always move Rice back, which you don't want to do, but you can do it. But then the other player I'd go for is Kudus, because I keep mentioning, you've mentioned a striker, you've mentioned competition for Saka. We've talked about the 8 position. Well, Kudus covers all of them, and I know I've said that on this show, but if you get a full-back who can play right and left back, allow Tomiyasu and White to also be depth at centre-back if needed, and then a Kudus can cover any of those forward positions, I actually think Arsenal's squad is more than stacked enough. And then you just hope that maybe we have Timber back for the last 2 months, and listen, that would be a nice boost as well. I mean, De Bruyne is out now till early 2024, so we're not the only club suffering injuries, but yeah, I think it's about being clever about players that can cover loads of different areas without having to sign 4 more players. You can address 4 or 5 positions in 2.
I think Arteta kind of does that anyway. I think if you look, a lot of his signings are so versatile.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm surprised we ain't got a player who can actually play in goal as well, and and in midfield.
Hey, David Raya might play it right back, man. You never know. You know,
bro, all these players,
they can play
everything. I swear to God, bro.
Imagine.
Like it seems like that's what he's looking out for. It's like that's his thing, you know. And that also, like, if you look at it, like, it's one of those things that actually is also economical in terms of, like, you're not having to buy 4 players when 1 player can do 4 things, that kind of thing. So kudos. Yeah, kudos. Yeah, I won't say no to that.
Imagine Arteta in the changing room, right in the midfield, Odegaard, Partey, Raya, and he's like, Rice, is it? No.
Right.
No, Raya.
That's what
It's
I
your
brought
big
you here
moment.
for.
It's your big moment.
DR. Which one?
What gloves on for?
Yeah, take your gloves off.
No, you're taking throw-ins, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
David Raya or Declan Rice.
Imagine the battle no one saw coming.
You thought Ramsdale was worried. Declan.
Ryan's coming to get the best out of our midfield. Oh god, this show's got silly.
You don't get to show, you know.
You can tell Robbie's away, innit? We're all playing up now.
What's your title of Talking Transfers, James? We've gone with Raya at 6. What do we think?
Oh my days.
Oh my word. Let's say a big thanks to our amazing panel, Stricto, great stuff, Curtis as well. Go find them on socials, go check out their YouTube channels as well. Just let them know as well where they can find you, everyone.
Curtis Shaw TV, I'm there. Dave.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah, Stricto on YouTube and Stricto on
Facebook.
Insta. Yeah, no, don't go on the Facebook.
MySpace.
MySpace.
This guy's old school. He's old school.
Big old face.
Stricto.
And my BlackBerry pin is.
What a throwback, blood. Oh my days.
And Cess.
Big up. I enjoyed this. Big up, everyone.
What a way to turn some bad news into something light-hearted and a bit of fun. If you want to keep laughing, go watch Cecil's Welcome video. Hit the subscribe button, like the video if you enjoyed. Get in the comment section below to let us know your alternative to this injury, and if we even need an alternative. There are a couple of weeks left, so you will get Talking Transfers every Wednesday till the end of the window, and potentially a special on deadline day as well. So we're going to have to find out what you two are doing on that day. Big thanks. Let's see you all in a bit as well.